So this morning, I want to have a look at the Freetrade app.
So I'm making this video this morning in vertical format, as I want to show you around my Freetrade account to see how it works. So when I log on to Freetrade, this is the page that I'm presented with. It's my portfolio page. And here you can see my investments. And then a little bit further down the page, this is quite interesting. This is my watch list. Some of these are things that I'm watching because they're in my investments, and some of them because I'm interested. So, for example, the bottom one there, the S&P 500, is something I'm not invested in. I don't hold any shares in that, but I am interested in how it's doing because it has such a big impact on everything else, really. The other major one I like to watch here is the FTSE All World there. You can see in the centre, which is where I would like to hold pretty much all my investments, really. But I do struggle to get invested. Let's have a little look why. So if you look at the FTSE All World over the last 6 months, we can see it's gone up 13%. If it looked 2 weeks ago, it'd gone up 15%. So it has started to drop a little. And that's why I'm nervous about putting all my investments in there at the moment, because it does seem to be dropping a little bit at the moment. But I am moving my shares across gradually. So if we go back to my portfolio, you can see here that I've got the vast majority of my investment in the overnight return, which is a money market fund, which is very safe. And if we look at how it's done over the year, you can see it's a straight line, never goes down, but has only delivered 5.35% over the last 12 months. So very, very low risk, but also reasonably low return. You know, if you are looking for something around the 10% mark, then this is not going to be one for you. Okay, so how do I use the app? Go back to my portfolio page again. So here's my investments. As I say, if I go down to my watch list, I can look at today's performance, and this is always really interesting to see how things are performing. So the FTSE All World is up a little bit today, but if you look at the week, for example, so we've sorted this by 7 days, we can see that the FTSE All World is down pretty much a whole percent during the week, whereas my overnight return is up by 0.09%. We can also see that the S&P is down by 0.8%, which is such a big part of the overall world market that will be having an impact on the FTSE All World as well. If I have a look at these over the last month, we can see that the FTSE All World is up 2%, and my overnight return is only up just under 0.5%, 0.45%. Okay, so that's where I kind of follow the charts, and I can look at different charts over different periods here. I can see that I actually opened my SIPP about 6 months ago, and I'm currently up £6,790, which works out, given that that's a 6 month period, I've got 128,000 in it, works out around 9-10%, which I'm really pleased with. Actually, it's slightly above target of what I was expecting, and I do hope the next 6 months can perform just as well. So if I move across to insights, I can see that in terms of where my investments are, I've got nearly 80% in bonds, nearly 20% in stock, and the remaining amount in cash and commodities. I can break that down by sector, and as you see, because I've got so much in bonds, it's actually showing heavily invested in finance. And then here's the individual investments. So my overnight return at the moment is 71%. The one I'm particularly interested in building is the FTSE All World. I want to get up to 20% probably. And my overnight return, I'd like to get that down to 60 max, really. So that's what I'm intending to do in the next few weeks. In terms of the app itself, it's got some really good tools here for finding shares. So I can scroll through sectors. I can scroll through trendy type shares. So for example, we've got AI robotics there, new IPOs, that kind of thing. So quite a lot of scope for analysis, really. So if I go into an individual stock, I've just picked Amazon here as an example, and I can find out it's got a price to earnings ratio of 51. God, that's high, isn't it? Lots of other information on there. I get some analyst ratings as well. So we've got 56 analysts who are rating this, and the average analyst rating is that the shares will increase by 22.69% over the next 12 months. And it shows me the earning per share estimates and whether they've met them or not. So, some good tools here. It also gives some good information about the costs and charges related to purchases. And I do find when I've looked at comparators that the Freetrade app for me, because I do trade probably more than most people do who have a SIPP, that this kind of suits me because the trades are actually free. So the activity list here gives what I've been doing, shares I've been buying, that kind of thing, and I can filter this, which is quite handy. So, for example, let me have a look at the dividends I've received, and there's various dividends I've received since I've had the SIPP open. Back into my account, and I can get things like here, transfer a pension. I actually transferred 7 pensions across, and I found it really easy, actually. It did take 2 or 3 months for each one, but I found the Freetrade guys really easy to work with. And I've also got a direct debit set up here. So after payday, I send across £200 each month, which I reinvest. So all in all, quite easy to use. Big downside for me, and the reason I am thinking of moving to Interactive Investor away from Freetrade, is that it doesn't allow drawdown. So when I do come to retire, which should be in a couple of years, this facility here doesn't allow me to draw down my pension, and I'll have to take the whole thing out and move it to a different platform. Whereas Interactive Investor has a similar set of functionalities, similar set of kind of price and charges, but it would allow me to go in and draw down my pension and control that kind of, the tax and how that's paid. So it is likely that sometime very soon I'll probably move my whole portfolio away from Freetrade to Interactive Investor. Hope you found this useful. So if you'd like to see me set up my new Interactive Investor account, please do subscribe and click the notification bell. Thanks.